Here is a StewMac Two Kings Boost kit. I'm building this for a friend of mine. In a recent video, I was taking you through building one of these from start to finish, and I didn't complete the series. I finished the pedal, and I thought I completed the build, but what happened was I did not record me doing it, and I decided I would build another one. So this is as it comes from StewMac. I told my friend I would build him one, and he asked me to do the mod that is mentioned in the instructions, and we'll get to that, and not put the decals on it and not do a finish on it. And I said, I can do that. And I have a little bit of time here. I found out today that a gig that I have tomorrow has been canceled due to illness. So I went, I can stay up a little bit and work on this. I will get pretty far along in this. If I do not finish this evening, I will finish it tomorrow evening, and I will record that as well. So, as I said, this is as it comes from StewMac. I am opening everything in front of you. If we are missing anything, I hopefully will have the components in stock to continue, and I won't have to make a very awkward pause to the video. So I've built a handful of these, and I have a pretty fair understanding of the process with it. Now, with that said, I'm going to follow some of the instructions. I don't want to do a bad job. So the parts that I'm going to use at the end of the build, I'm going to move to the side so they are out of the way, because this is the area that we're going to work in. The jacks get used towards the end. The switches, there's another switch in here. The bezels, I will set those aside. Where is my waste bin? These are for the back of the pots. Here are the potentiometers. So something I'm going to do before we get too far into this, I found this out with my last build that I did. After I completed it, one of my pots has 3 stuck points in it. So as you turn the shaft, there's 3 end points, and it shouldn't be that way. And the remedy is very simple. Just change out the pot, but it's a giant pain in the ass since the pedal's already built. So in this case, I'm checking it now, because if one of these has that, I will just go into my parts bin that is about 3 feet to my left, and I will fix this up. But these all feel pretty good. And to be truthful, that was a rookie mistake on my part. I should have checked them before I put them in. Sometimes when you do these things, you may be versed at doing a certain type of repair, and you just get complacent over time. And that's what I've done. I didn't check the components before I put them in. So before I get too far along, I want to show you a simple trick. Not trick, a simple test. It's not a trick. It's not magic at all. There's no mysticism. What I'm doing here is there's an indexing pin on these. And in some applications, you may use that, but in these, you're not. So I'm just snapping that off. Okay, pretty easy. So what I want to show you, I'm going to move this to the side. This is just a cheap Klein meter. The number on this is an MM320. It's pretty basic. It does what we need it to do. So I'm looking at this, and it says it's 100K on the rating, okay? So I'll go here. I'll turn this meter to 200K, because that'll measure anything up to 200 in that position. And I'll measure these 2 lugs. It shows me 94K, which is within the margin of error on these. A lot of these are 5 or 10% margin. So 100K, 94K, you know, it's within 10%. Now, I'll show you something pretty neat. So I don't know what direction we have this right now. 94.1. Okay. Now watch when I go middle to the other lug. 0. Now I'm going to turn this lug, or the pot, all the way around. Notice that the reading changes on the outer two, and then the inner two, and 0. So that's just showing you how a pot works. So there's a piece of material in here, and the resistance changes as you turn the knob. But we can get to that later. So I don't need the pots for now. And I don't need all of these other components for now. So let's set those aside so as they do not get lost. Okay. Now I've reached my middle life crisis where I save little baggies, and I don't know why I've begun to do this. This is, I don't know, I'm 43 and I have an attachment to saving bags. The real reason for it is I do a lot of guitar repair, and it is very convenient to give somebody back their parts in a baggie rather than just, here's a hand of parts, have fun. One of the other things that I've done, so I take a maintenance medication and I take the label off my old pill bottle. This here will go to a customer order. We did a little bit of modification and I want to give the original parts. So, okay, without opening the book, I'm going to begin to separate some components. These are capacitors. These are electrolytic capacitors, and electrolytic capacitors are polarized, which means you have to observe the polarity when you install them. These here are IC chips. These IC chips will not be directly soldered in. They will be installed by one of these chip holders. That's a way to keep your chips from becoming cooked. These two here, these are LEDs. LEDs are also polarized. I do not need them right now. I know that these are towards the end of the kit. These are box capacitors. These box capacitors are not polarized. They can be installed in either orientation. So I can get those out of the way for now. These here are diodes. Diodes do follow polarity, which means they must be installed according to polarity. There is a line on them. There is a mark on your PCB. You need to follow that. Here's some other capacitors. These are not polarized. They can go to the side. Another diode, and a diode. Little diode action here. A lot of diodes in here, huh? Let's get all these diodes off to a side. Now, you could just start reaching and installing and not paying attention, but I don't know if you cook at all if you're watching this, but cooking is a passion of mine. Not passion, interest. Passion insinuates that I really care a lot about it. I like to make good food, and that's about it. And I've studied a bit. But like cooking, in cooking, one of the things that we say is your mise en place, which is everything in its place. And I think that it's best to start these with everything in its place. So I will move this to the side for a little bit. Now, if you have been following me for any amount of time, a minute, an hour, a second, you will know that I do not see color properly. Reading the color bands on a resistor is disastrous for me. And in my other videos when I do this, what I've done is I have pre-sorted the resistors. And for this video, I decided what I would do is not pre-sort them. I'm going to test them as I build according to the instructions here. I want to kind of show you how difficult it is to live this life not being able to see color properly. So my resistors, I'm just going to put in a pile. And it's going to be If you have any modicum of electrical understanding or work, you're going to laugh at me a lot. So I'll get this guy about set. I'm going to kick my iron on. I don't need it right yet, but why not get it ready? What my intention with this is, I'm going to reference a page on the manual. I will start building, and then I will continue to reference the manual. I don't need the manual based upon, and I'll show you exactly why. Actually, I do want to do this first. So let me find my little razor blade that I had. One of the things that's very common in my shop is just a plain razor blade. And depending on the job that I'm doing, so you notice there's a piece of blue tape here, and you can see there's a mark where there was some tape. I was doing a finish repair where I put the tape on either side of the razor blade, and then I can scrape to bring something level. And then what happens is this paper acts as a safeguard, right? And I don't damage the finish. And then I have another razor blade with Scotch tape, which is smaller than this. And it makes doing certain jobs a little bit easier. So here we are. Just cut this guy open. These are so cool because I want to bring this real close so you can see it. There's a bunch of gobbledygook on there. If you don't know what you're looking at, this is Greek, it's Latin, it's Japanese, whatever you want to call it. But on this board, there's different numbers and letters and symbols. This tells you what component goes where. It makes it super easy. So we'll break out the breakout board here. This board here, this piece, the switches go here, and it's super convenient because the switches, you just plug them into this, solder the lugs, and then all of the connections are made for you rather than you having to try and decipher where you're going to put what. Now, there's this guy here. This is the other board. This piece here is trash. This is the main board that goes in a Two Kings Boost. So if you look at an Analog Man King of Tone, this is mainly the sound right there, these things. Okay, so I'll put this guy right here for now. And I can skip all of the nomenclature about everything before, and I can go right to page 15. And page 15 tells me that I'm going to install some diodes. I'll try and move this so you can still see the page. Let's see, can I do that? Okay. And where's a little pointer stick at? Do I have my pointer here handy? I don't want to eat up a bunch of time looking for a bunch of crap. I'll use this wooden stick as my pointer. You'll notice there's different types here. There's a 1N4001, and there's 4 of those. 1N5817, there's 3 of those. And then there's 8 of this guy here, 1N914. And these are going to go in first. So the first step that I'm going to do, you do not need a PCB holder. If you have one, they are very convenient. It is not required. I think on my crappy YouTube channel here, I have built pedals without it and probably looked a little less silly without it, to be truthful with you. All this is just a nice way to have something that holds what you're doing. Just another set of hands where you're working, okay? Since I know the diodes are coming first, I'm going to slide my resistors out of the way and bring my diodes back in to the camera here. I know I have 4 of one type of diode, 3 of another type of diode, and 8 of another. Well, I can see the 3 that I need right here. These 3 are the 1N5817. I will install those, and I'm going to make sure to observe the polarity of where they go. So I'm going to bring this focus in on this. There's a stripe. That stripe tells me that it's going to go to this square pad. But also looking here on this, make sure this focused back on that. You can see that there's a line. It shows you exactly how it's supposed to go. Now the reason I'm doing these three first is twofold. One, it removes a component from the list and I don't have to try to differentiate, is this one of them or not? But also from building, this is my 4th Two Kings kit. And I can tell you that the legs on these are a bit thicker than the legs on other diodes. And as a result, I have to manhandle these a little bit to get them to where they're going to go. So I have them started, and then I'm just going to pull the rest of the way in. And that's that. Those are all in. They're seated nicely on this board. It looks good. What I can do here, just solder them in place. Now I'm taking this off camera for 1 second. I just want to bring this up closer to my face so I can see what I'm doing here, making sure I cut that nice. When you get to my age, your eyes do not work the same way they did when you were younger. All right, so our next diodes there are 4 1N4001. And that's these guys right here. So it's time to install those. I'm just pulling the paper off of the legs of these, so don't want you to miss the action. Oops. Dropping stuff around, fumbling. I'm doing whatever your favorite or least favorite football team is doing. Two of these diodes go on the far side here. And again, making sure to observe the stripe on the diode. When you solder a diode, don't stay on it too long. I would say, different components have, what do you want to say, different hardiness, we'll say. I feel like a resistor is like real strong and can take us not being real good at what we do. And a capacitor is a little less strong, and a diode and all that. And then what happens? You spend too much time on it, you fry the component, it doesn't work. You're trying to troubleshoot your work. It doesn't work too well for you. Okay, now there's 8 more diodes that go in. Following the same thing, just making sure our lines all line up. It's kind of silly how much I enjoy this kind of work. It's nothing crazy or special. I mean, I'm not really good at anything here. I'm sorting things and I'm following instructions and applying heat to one side for a couple seconds and pulling away. But there's something super rewarding about doing this kind of work. I've always enjoyed electrical work, or not even just electrical work, taking things apart and understanding how they work. It's always been something I've enjoyed. This is just a little trick if you want to make your life a little easier. Oh, I'm bending some of my tabs across where I want to work. Won't hurt anything, but this will just make it easier on me. One of the things I do when I solder is I tend to hold my breath as I solder because I don't want to inhale this stuff. I know they've done a pretty good job of making sure it's mostly safe, but I prefer lead solder. It works easier, it's good. If you're not eating it, you're okay. You know, just be mindful of it and all that. Yeah, there's technically no safe exposure to lead. So what you try and do is minimize it. So there it is. All of the diodes have been installed. Let's go to the next page here. Install the resistors. This is probably going to take 6 to 10 business months since I don't see color properly. So I was thinking about this, how can I do this to be efficient? And then I thought, I don't really care about being efficient. I'm just going to follow the instructions. So I'm going on a scavenger hunt. This is my electrical meter. I need 2 10K resistors. This is a 33K, and I do not need that right now, so I'll put that off to the side. I'm assuming this one that's little, just the same. So here's the two 33Ks. What is this guy here? 6.8. And I need 4 of those. So let's put this one in a pile. This is 100K. I don't need that yet. I'll put the 100 over the 33, just as a mental note. This is a 1 meg. That can be the very top. This is another 1 meg. Should be 47K. I'm looking really silly here, trying to hold this down. If you've ever done it, you know. So 47K. 47 is more than 33, but I actually need the 47. I need 2 of those. What did I say this one was? Was this 6.8? 6.8. Okay, so we got 6.8 here. We got 47 here. 10K. Need 2 of those, so this is 6. We'll put the 10 there. 100K. And go here. 10K. $6.8. That's what this one was too, right? Yep. So we have 2 of our 6.8s out of 4. Another 1 meg, go up there. $4.7, which is lower than 6.8, so I'll put that at the bottom. 27K, we don't use that right now. That goes below 33. So all I'm doing is just kind of getting a mental reference of like where to look for my next one when I work on it. $220K, I don't use that right now. It'll go above our 100 and below our 1 meg. $1K. I need 2 of these. Those are the lowest value that I will use on this page here. Here's our 2 1Ks. So the 1Ks are done. This is 270K. Oh no, 27K. And I don't use that on this page, so this goes below our 33. $1K. $4.7. $220. $6.7. $1K. $1 meg. $47K. $1 meg. Hey, quit running from me. 1 meg. would be a 10K. Oh, 6.7. I believe all 4 of these are 6.7s. 6.8 is what the book calls it, but they read 6.7. Okay, I grabbed the wrong pile. That's a 10K. 6.7. $6.7, 10K. Are these the other two 6.7s? We'll see. This is the challenge of doing this when you don't see color right. Like normal people could just look at the color bands and get it right. Okay, so all 4 of these are 6.7, 6.8 according to this, and I'm going to put them where they go. So this is how I do it. You can put, there's ways to organize your resistors for a project beforehand. You can do it that way. But I find it's just easier for me to do it this way, because I have to double check them out anyway since I don't see them right. The weird thing is I never knew I was color deficient, I guess you could call it. I'm not color blind. I see color, I just don't see it correctly. And I remember when I was younger, this is my junior high class, and you know, some kids, you had like bougie parents that would go like buy you like whatever. And then you had other kids, like yours truly, and we got out of the community pile. And the community pile was usually pretty decent, to be truthful with you. I mean, there was all the name brand crayons and markers and all that bullshit. Well, anyway, I had to make a family crest. And that was actually a really fun project. My art teacher engaged us and told us, you know, try and find out more about your lineage and your bloodline and all that crap. And in our art test, I had to make this crest, which was fine, but I had to get colors out of the community pool. We'll call it. All right, hold on. Before we get too far ahead of myself, and I start going down story lane, I know I already put those in. So these should be our 4.7s. Yes, time to get those in. So anyway, my art teacher, go to the pile, get your shit, whatever. My colors were blue, red, black, gold, and silver. I went over to the community pile of markers, And I got my markers. I got all my stuff ready. I did my assignment, and my teacher berated me. You were only to use however many colors, and you used extra colors. And I said, no, I didn't. And there was a big argument. And as a teen, I had a huge chip on my shoulder. I was kind of a piece of shit, to be truthful with you. And I yelled and whatever. And I ended up in the principal's office. And the principal, I'd been an issue before. He knew me. And, oh, Rob, what the hell's going on? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. He goes, why'd you do this? And I said, I didn't. And the one thing I always had going for me at school was I didn't lie. I might have been a piece of shit, but I didn't lie. So if I told the teacher I did not do this, they could pretty much take it to the bank. I wasn't the responsible party. If I said I didn't know, whatever, you know, any of that shit. So anyway, the principal, royal asshole in his own right, but he actually had a moment of humility with me, and he said, Robert, I don't see the problem. He goes, hold on. And he just started grabbing random shit from his office and asking me what color I thought it was. And I thought he was going to tell me I needed special needs counseling or something, you know, the way that he was treating me. And he said, Rob, I think you're colorblind. And I went to my eye doctor. And, well, no, I'm sorry. I did not go to my eye doctor. I went to the school nurse, and she had a book that was from an eye doctor. And in this book, you look at it. Do you see this number? Do you see that number? And I guess it tells you the different types of color deficient you are. And I am like all of the important ones. It made being an electrical engineering student that reads resistor color bands damn near impossible. It was awful. I greatly loved electronics. I still do. I'm not really good at it like, you know, I thought I would be when I was a kid. The whole color thing. But, and it sometimes creeps its head up at home or with friends or whatever. Oh, you really don't see that? And it's, yeah, I don't, you know. It was funny the first 30,000 times when I realized I couldn't see color, but it's not as funny anymore. But then you have to realize maybe I have it better than they have it. Maybe what I see is better than what they see. You know. Food for thought. Maybe seeing it correct isn't the right way. For example, a tiger has orange and black, but the animals that hide from it don't see color properly the same way that we see it. So as a result, the tiger's camouflage blends in a lot more for them than it does for us. So for this page, 2 more 10Ks and 2 47Ks. So let's go to 200. See what these are. Those are our 10s. These are the 47s. Let's see, what about this next one? 27. That's a 27. Also a 27. What was this, 47? That's one of them. Maybe it's one of these 3. I put them in a pile incorrectly. I'll find out real quick. 100K, 100K, 47, there we are. So both of these are 47, put them in. I think I may have mentioned it on this channel before. I enjoy taking my teenage son to concerts. He likes them, and it makes me happy because when I was in his age, I wanted to go to everything I could, but I couldn't afford it. Well, we're in a little bit better position where we can budget and go to a show and all that shit accordingly. Well, I saw they were selling Emperor tickets. So Emperor is a black metal, death metal. It depends on who you talk to, what genre. And they all fight over it. I don't get involved. I'm like, oh, they're a band. They do whatever. But they were coming within 2 hours of us. The Ticketmaster fees were over $100 more. And that really pissed me off. And I said, I will not be partaking. Here's our 10Ks. Let's get them installed. So that's one page down. Cut these ends off. When you cut your resistor ends, don't cut them immediately. Give them at least some time to harden. If you cut them too soon, you actually will end up with a joint that you moved the wire and it didn't get a chance to make a complete bond. And that can be a real pain in the ass because oh, trying to use my thing here. It doesn't work. What's going on? And you look, everything looks good, but a failed solder joint on something like through a through hole, it could be this just tiny, like imperceivable amount that you don't see with your eye without paying super attention. And yeah, so there's that. All right, let's get to our next resistors here. Next page. Boom. There we are. So this next page here, 2 220s, 6 1 megs, 227s, 233s. Well, I already made myself look like an ass metering these. So let's just check them and get them installed. Very cool. At least got 6 right. So plug these in here. Yeah, some of the things that I like to do, I really enjoy repairing things. I enjoy knowing how things work. I enjoy being able to build things. And these pedal kits are perfect for somebody like me. And what I mean by that is, there's another website that I go to, and it's kind of like, I think about doing it, but I don't want to do it because it's a giant pain in the ass, and I just don't have the time for it. But there's a website, Pedal PCB, beautiful website. Schematics, prints, boards, all that. And then they give you the component list that you need to build the product that you want to build. I don't have any amount of patience whatsoever to go, oh, I can get my resistors at this place, I can get my diodes at this place, I can get my enclosures at this one. I don't want to do that. All I want to do is follow some instructions. I don't even need them all. You know, just give me some, and I'll puzzle out the rest. I want to follow some instructions. I want to pay for what I'm building, and I'm just looking pretty much to build a model car, is what it comes down to. You know, I'm building a model. This is something else that isn't normal in life, you know. And the problem becomes on Pedal PCB, which is like I said, a great website, and I use it a lot, not only to look at pedals I want to build, but if I have to fix something, I can get access to most reasonable schematics there. And most of the pedals on the site, you know, they are built off of something else, so I can figure it out pretty quick. Anyway, I don't have any desire to... I'm going to call Tata Electronics and order 27 1K resistors. I'm going to order whatever at this distributor. I'm going to do this here. I don't want to do it. I just want to buy what I want to build. Give me a box with everything in it. Give me some instructions, and I'll build it. Well, Build Your Own Clone was amazing. Then that guy turned into a giant dick. He accepted a huge order of mine. Didn't bother to fill it. Didn't bother to tell me I'm not getting it. Forced me to file a chargeback on my credit card to get my money back. I did get it back, but you shouldn't have to do that. I mean, I'm a man, he's a man, just call me up. Hey, here's what's going on. Do you still want your order if it takes me however many more weeks, whatever. I would have told that dude he could have had all year to finish my order. And then he closed up shop. And a lot of people were unhappy. And can you blame him? Especially if you spent some money at his website. But there's a pretty decent pedal building community that would buy pre-built kits. And I actually toyed with it. Could I put the kits together and make it easy for people to get their stuff? And then I just was like, no, I don't want to deal with it. Okay, so there's the 6.1 megs all installed. Let's see what these are. Got to be 220 if the 200 won't read it. There's a 220. That is not a 220. These two are 220s. little touch-up. Sometimes you have to do a touch-up of a joint. These two little baby ones are the 33Ks. Got a little hot there. I bet you these are both 27K right here. So I'll tell you why. We're getting to the point in the kit where there's two set values, like if it's, you know, from the factory, original, whatever. And then there's another value where if you want to do the modded version. Well, my buddy wants the modded version, and I'll tell you why he wants the modded version. Not only is it because he's smart, it happens to be because I let him try both the modded and the unmodded. I've built this kit a couple times, and I let him check out both. I said, hey, tell me what you like, man. You know, he's a good friend of mine, and I can at least... I'm not good at a lot of things, but if I can do something that makes something happy for even a couple minutes. I know him. He's a dick like me. Yeah, Jay, I said it. You are like me. You're a dick. You won't use your homebrew pedal over a name brand. I love you, buddy. Anyway, he ain't gonna watch it. He's busy. He has a family, and he's a successful guitar player in his own right. He's actually really good. Not actually like, oh my gosh, do you know someone good? What I mean is he's really good, and he doesn't play out anymore. You know, it's not his bag. I am checking something on here because I'm pretty sure I got solder in a joint that isn't. Yep, there it is. and I don't want to have a problem later trying to get whatever I'm putting in it. There we are. Okay. So based on that, it is time to go to the next page. Wait. I have one bent. What are you? Did I only put one in? Did I make a mistake? Where are you? 27. Oh no. Oh no, I know what I did. Oof. I made the first mistake, then I didn't go to the next. All right. Oof. Got me scared for a minute. Tell you how I ended up being the guy to do this kind of shit in my area was happenstance. So I went to electrical engineering school when I was in school, and then I worked as a communications electrician for, oh man, forever and a day. And after doing that, oh, do you want to go do this? You want to do that? Whatever. You get different training, different knowledge. I'd start working on some stuff that was easy. Solder joints, clearly visible, no troubleshooting really. And then it kind of went from there. Okay, so I'm going to read this as I do it. Oh man, wish that knuckle would crack. Install your last two resistors. These locations are marked 1/100 on the board. We included pairs of 1 and 100 to give the builder the option to modify the gain stage of the circuit. The stock Analog Man King of Tone uses 1K resistors for a clean crunch. For a higher gain, use one or both 100K resistors. A commonly used setup is a 1K on the left side foot switch, the resistor located on the right side of the circuit board, and a 100K on the right side. So I would put a 100K here and a 1K here if we're doing the mod. And guess what? My friend wants the mod. So all I have to do, what size is this? 100K. And where does the 100K go? Right side of the circuit board is 1K. Resistor located on the left side of the circuit board, 100K. So here it is, 100K. And I bet you this is a 1K. Oh, sugar. That's continuity. 1K. I will solder these, and then it is time for the next components. Just about done with the resistors. Cut these leads and go to the next step. Move these resistors out of the way. Time for the trim pots. So this other bag of fun stuff. Let's get the trim pots out. And the dip switch. These trim pots can only go in one way. There's 3 tabs on your pot, and there's 3 tabs on the board, and they're shaped in a triangle. There's no way to screw this up unless you specifically look at the board and say, I hate you, I'm not going to do what you told me, and I'm just going to do what I want. And if you do that, well, good luck with your pedal. My pedal's going to work. So these trim pots are cool. You can change the voicing of the pedal pretty much. Tip this over. I hope you can hear my garbage can when I throw these wires in. There's something stupid rewarding about throwing a piece of wire or a cut-off end of a resistor or a component. It just, I can't explain it. Time for that chip. Chip goes just like this. Now, if I just take this board, see how that falls right out? I love using tape, zip ties, Velcro, a helping hands, set of fingers, super glue, I don't care. If I need it to be held, I'm going to use whatever it takes to do it. That guy's in. Now it's time to put the chip sockets in. On the chip socket, there's a detent on your chips. That is there as well. The detent will also be on your circuit board. One of those pieces of wire didn't come off. I got it a little bit hot, and one of the other connections caught it, but it's all squared away. I just grabbed my meter, thinking it was my solder. I'm an idiot. An idiot. Wow. Can't even talk. I'm going to have to cut that joint, little solder bridge. Oh. Just pulling this off camera quick to take a look at how bad it is. Oh, it's actually good. Just cutting that joint quick. All right, those are in. Oops. That's annoying, isn't it? On to the next page. Oh, filter cap time. Filter caps are polarized. Remember what I said earlier? Negative is the shorter leg, positive is the longer leg. The longer leg on the PCB will be a square. Oh, my meter yelled at me. We got 3 of these 10s. Let's get them in. So follow where these 3 go. Pretty simple. Remember, the long leg's positive. Here's our 100. We'll put that in too. Okay, time to solder these. Oh wow, the capacitors are, well, I'm sorry, the electrolytic capacitors are done. Let's go to our next section. These are your box capacitors. We don't need our meter anymore. Two 100 picofarads. What do you think those are? Right here. Let's put them in. So follow our instructions. It goes right here. And our other one goes right here. Got a little whoopee there. Just taping these in place so they stay there while I solder them. Oh, bumped my head on it. You can almost separate these just by size because they're 8 of one and then 2 of another. There you go. I feel really dumb. I'm missing one. 22 goes here, so that's this. I found it. Oh, that's a problem, isn't it? I'll deal with that in a minute. I have a little bit of repair work to do. Not a big deal. Oh, a couple more. Okay. Now I have to fix my whoopee. Oh, what the hell? All I did was heat up the solder and then smack the board on the table. There we go, that's straightened out. Now our last capacitor can go right in here. I actually kind of prefer that it happened that way. I remember this being a tight fit with the other kit. So I'm just taking this off camera for 1 second to trim the ends. You'll hear it going down into the garbage. All right. So this is where the board is now. Whoops. All right, so the next step is to install wires. I'm going to postpone that until tomorrow. Tomorrow we will do the wires, install the switches on the breakout board, install the protective covering on the potentiometers, and resume building the pedal. So we're about an hour and 35 in. And that's about it for the night. Pretty good progress considering all of the metering that I had to do since I don't see the color bands correctly. And I hope you've enjoyed so much of what I've done. Wait, I hope you've enjoyed something of what I've done. And I've done so much of things. So I will finish this tomorrow, either while my toddler naps or later in the evening, but this will be completed within the next 18 hours, I'll say. All right, see ya.